journey, and you're crafting how this journey should, look like.
Yes.
But then inside there is a number of hindrances. Right now in this age, what are some of these hindrances that really make us, you want to be a lawyer when you're young, but then you reach maybe you're 30 and you're doing something else, totally different?
Yeah, it all starts with the basic encouragement from parents or from your caregivers when you are young. There is the aspect of reinforcement. What are you reinforcing? What behaviors are you reinforcing in this child? A child has to start by being active, being social, and being able to follow what's happening. Right now, the young people call it trending, or rather the current technology is trending. What's trending? So the trend at the beginning, the child doesn't know. It is the parents to guide the child. As the child proceeds on, he's supposed to follow, for example, we have this, the 7 Habits of the Most Effective People by Stephen Covey, not Steve Harvey.
You just had to, okay.
Yeah, so be proactive. That's rule number 1.
Okay.
You are training this child to be proactive.
Oh, no, the parent should be proactive.
Proactive, and then also inculcate, bring the child into the program of being proactive. Let the child or guide the child on what is the right future based on the career. So you have to choose a career for the child based on what you think is according to the job market.
But I thought, I mean, now it's my responsibility as now the child to really pick point and say, Dad, Mom, you know what, I really want to be a lawyer.
Yes.
So with all the school fees that you're paying, make sure I am a lawyer, not now the other side. Them to really say, no, you, Nyaringita, unafaa kuwe daktari. Hiyo ni lazima.
That will come at the middle stage of education or development, say at adolescent. You know, the child will have looked at the market, the child will have also evaluated his or her strength. The child will tell you, no, Dad, you've been talking about lawyer, engineer, daktari, but my passion
is just to become a DJ.
Is in my entertainment world. So if you continue struggling with this child, pushing, he may end up going to study what you want, but he will let you down. At 30 years, he'll be doing changes, right? I did the same thing, rather like a mistake.
You?
Because, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what did you want to become? Not a counseling psychologist?
In the beginning, I wanted to do social sciences. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh.
But during school, we were encouraged to join technical schools.
Okay.
So I joined Thika Technical School. After getting my 3 A's those days, I went to Thika Technical School, which was the equivalent of Alliance. From technical school, it was assured you will get jobs straight away. I ended up being in the government as in the technical field, engineering field, electrical. I have worked in the government as an electrical officer. I have done business in electrical, but I felt there was something missing. So I went back to school. I went to the University of Nairobi to study psychology. Now I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do.
So right now we will have been calling you here Wakili Alfred Weku to be discussing matters constitution.
Yes, yeah. So I realized at a later stage, going back to university to study law would take a very long time.
Oh, yes.
So I've looked at my age and I said, now, which is a humanity-related career I can take, then as I retire, I can continue working. Because if you are a lawyer and you retire, you go to the village, you will not continue helping people. You will now be pushed to the periphery and you cannot practice law. But psychology, you can work until the end of your life.
Oh, yes. And we're watching here with you how the vice chair was explaining back then when she was in primary and she'd written somewhere that she wants to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And her parents were really supportive of her, despite the fact that they didn't even have electricity at that time. They were really supportive. what are the benefits of having such kind of supportive either parent or a guardian who really support you, even the kind of words they tell you every day? Wewe utakuja kuwe wakili siku moja.
Yeah, it's good for her. Wambui followed what the framework that the parents set for her. Like I said earlier, she chose law or legal practice when she was young, and the parents encouraged her. She ended up doing something related to that. That means the foundation was set right, and she never changed later on. She only reinforced it. So the work of the parents is to encourage the children. The negative words that people have complained about that are entrenched in their minds are the words that are what bring people down. Like the saying goes, think, feel, and behave. Think, feel, and behave. What is this person thinking? What are the negative thoughts in the mind of this person that are bringing him down? Many people are having a lot of psychological issues because of what they had when they were young.
But because I remember, even in Kenya, you say, mwalimu wa maths hapa ni wapi. Really resonates how, even back then, teachers and even professors would really, the kind of words they really tell you impacts you even later. You're like, I remember my maths teacher told me that I won't go far where I am right now. But then now on the flip side, Weku, here you have a parent or even a guardian who's telling you some negative words. They're telling you you're not going to go far. And this is your father telling you, this is your mother telling you. Now, what are the impacts? Because, I mean, coming from someone who's really close to you, I feel like you really now personalize that.
Yes.
And you always work with that, anywhere you go.
Yes. There is difference between a parent who tells you negative words and a parent who admonishes you when you make a mistake. Punishment, of course, light punishment is allowed even in psychology, even in the Bible. When people are punished when they are young, some of them take grudges and they grow with it. I have a client who was punished by the father because he scored 75 and another one scored 95. So the comparison was so hurting for the father until he punished the son. Up to now, he still has a grudge for the father. When he finished university, he still felt that the father made a mistake to punish him because it was those days that punishing or spanking a child had been curtailed. So the child is now going through therapy to tell him, look here, if it were not for your father's disciplinary action, you would not be where you are. So there's difference between discipline and negative words that people use. That is why we are entrenching, the government is trying the maximum to entrench psychology in most of the learning institutions. Teachers have to be told, when they learn psychology, they know negative words are now bad. That is why in counseling there is what we call CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive deals with the mind. How much negativity is entrenched in the life of this person? Can it be removed? Psychology or a counselor will do it. Parents, most of them who do not know that anger, it's the anger that makes them exude those bad words, and they should be told that those words are negatively affecting their children and they will need to be removed in the later stage in their lives.
So basically you're saying even for teachers who are watching us right now,
yes,
wakishika kiboko, when they're caning you, they tell you, you're a good boy, next time I want you to pass.
Yeah, they should say, yes, I'm punishing you, if it's allowed, we are punishing you lightly so that you can take this trend. We punished you because you made this mistake. We asked you to slash the compound because you made a mistake. Not that you slashed, we punished you and you are a cow. You know, when you tell a student you are a cow, it gets entrenched in the mind. I am a cow. So you tell the child to do that homework, the child will just say, Mom, teacher said I'm a cow. And he'll be so demoralized, he will not proceed well. Yeah.
You're giving me flashbacks of back then. when I was in primary, dark days, those ones. But then now, let's talk about the mistakes.
Yes.
Because, as Wambu was talking about how even after university, trying to even vie, failing, and then trying business out here. She also, failed somewhere on that.
Yeah.
And we always experience, that during all that journey, you'll have some hindrances in between there. Are they good? Is it good to make mistakes, first of all?
Mistakes are learning steps. Mistakes are encouraged, not to a large extent, but mistakes, as long as they're within your line you want to pursue, and then you find you've made a mistake, you change now having been strengthened. You are being strengthened that don't repeat this mistake. For example, you may want to do business and you team up maybe 5 or 6 people. And then people raise funds, and then all of a sudden the funds disappear. The 5 people, one of them runs away with the money. You made a mistake. How did you choose those people? On what principles were the selection, and how did you meet, in what grouping, and so forth? I'll give an example of our community, because I work with communities. The Somali community, they believe in teamwork based on trust. Let us do this project, let's raise funds and see what they are doing in Isli. I was raised up in Isli.
Oh, really?
Yes, I go to look where our house was. I can't see, because it's all been developed by this community who believe in synergy. Because rule number 6, according to the 7 habits of highly effective people, is synergy. Synergy means you cannot grow very fast alone. You have to team up with people. In church, synergize. At your place of work, synergize. That's why there are cooperative societies there. So synergy, based on trust, can make people grow very fast. Mistakes that people make when they're doing business, for example, right now it's estimated 95% of companies being set up fail within the first 5 years. Why is it so? Mistakes. And then it doesn't mean when you fail, you remain there. You have to wake up, dust yourself, look at the mistakes you did, use them now as you're building blocks for your growth.
All right.
Yes.
That's even when you started, I remember that quote by Wambu saying, it's not how many times you fail, it's what you do to pick yourself. But then now, speak on now this new generation that we are in. I can speak for myself. Would you say, and I'm pretty sure you've also worked with a number of this new generation, will you say we are afraid of mistakes? Because I mean, you graduate today, you want to have a job tomorrow, and then be the next big person the next day. Because again, of the whole social pressure that you're around, you're seeing your age mates. You finished the same time with someone, and your age mate is driving some big car out here, has some big job, and you really want that whole journey to shorten, to become now the next big thing.
That's a very pertinent question. We were having a talk with some law organizations, and the major afflicting behavior within the workforce was that when workers come in afresh from their colleges or law school, there is a lot of dynamics in the socialization and the lifestyles. Different lifestyles are premised on either someone having prestige. Is it achieved prestige, or it is ascribed prestige? Achieved prestige is what you have worked for. And I think that is the most healthier prestige. It's the best, it's recommended. work for your success. Ascribed is you are born in opulence, there is everything there. So you'll even be pushed to go to school, or you'll be taken to school in London, you'll come back, sink yourself in alcohol and drugs and just fun, because you know at the back of your mind there is a comfort zone. So what she went through was a good process. She was looking at where the parents were. She said her mom was a teacher, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And she was being encouraged. And then she was studying with in mind that I have to uplift my parents. I support her because there are many children who finish school and they disappear, they get married, they are swallowed by their wives or by their husbands, and they forget about parents. I'm clapping for her. She's done a good job. She has a good vision, and she'll reach very far because she'll get blessings from her parents. She's so proud of them. Whether they punished her for failing or doing badly, or whether they kept on telling her, praising her or approving her, she has her parents in her mind. And I really appreciate the fact that she is growing. She has tried various businesses, failing, and then where she is, she has said it's not the end. It is now the beginning of her trajectory. She must have had a turning point. Where is the turning point? Warembo na Uruto.
Oh, yes.
That was the turning point. From where she was struggling, she found herself being elevated. And that's why in life, you need to try things as long as you're doing it safely. Starting an organization like a social group like she started,
Oh, yes.
nobody will prevent you. Start it, get support from the lawyers, from the politicians, and there she is. She took a risk. It was not a very bad risk. It was just, yes, she needed just to raise to social capital and sensitize people that let us support the politicians. She's there because of that. Several people have gotten the same kind of education, but without that turning point, they're still struggling.
So basically looking for the right connections even.
Yes.
I want to take a short break, but then in Nairobi you have a very common saying,
Yes,
that to make it in life, you unahitaji Mungu mbele, ukora kidogo, na connections. Those three things will really have you on the top and carrying the big money out here. When we come back, I want to get your insight on the same. Is that a healthy mentality out here? Hold your thought for that. And keep talking to us on our socials below your screens as you have this discussion. Ukora kidogo, Mungu mbele na connections. Should we be having that kind of a conversation to have the whole journey to the top? Stick around. 3 minutes past the top of the hour. You're definitely watching your favorite right morning show. This is Morning Cafe. The hashtag is Morning Cafe. The social media handles just below your screens. We are talking about 3 things. If you're in Kenya, you've probably heard them. Mungu mbele, ukora kidogo, and some connections here and there. And you're talking about matters making it to the top. Yes. And I'm curious, mostly when you're starting humbly, you always say good things that you will do for the country. Yeah. And then you reach a particular level where you are, maybe at the top. Yes. And then you might be met with a few corrupt deals here and there. Yes. And, as we also put it here, ukora kidogo. Is it healthy? Is it even healthy to have such kind of mentality that you might really be faced with ukora kidogo that you really have to just, will have to make you go to the top?
Ukora kidogo is what has messed up this country, because when people have that in society, then that corruption sets in. Ukora kidogo should be put out. Mungu mbele, it is faith-based. Mm-hmm. Connections is the best thing. And at what level are you connecting? You must have your papers with you for you to connect well. You have already set a pedestal that you will not embarrass whoever is supporting you. Uh-huh. Wambui went through schools normally. She went to the University of Nairobi. She's an alumni of the university. And she's at the level of university graduates. She went to law school, if I'm not wrong. She did very well. Therefore, when now it comes to competition at that level, because it is tiers, primary tier is so low, you'll end up doing minor jobs, manual and so forth. Secondary tier, from 4 lever, you will end up being employed at levels like guards, because right now security guard class 7 or class 8, you may not get employment because the competition is so high with Form 4 levers. Uh-huh. University level, now you are growing up. University level is where now the government are picking up even clerical officers, every people in the offices, you must have a degree. So having put herself, or the parents put her on that pedestal, it means she cannot embarrass whoever put her in that post. You're mentioning something important. Yes. Saying that, embarrassing even the person who is connecting you. Yes. But then now how do you know the right people to connect with and to network with? Because, normally you'd find in a party, house party and everything, and you find your uncle who is working in some government offices, unampangia CV, unamwambia, uncle, itafutie kazi kwa government, tafadhali. Then your uncle stays with those papers and later asks you, ulisema unafanya course gani? Probably, is it the fact that we are networking with the wrong people? Where does the problem now come in? The problem is that we, parents and guardians and caregivers, are not being proactive. They are not beginning with the end in mind. Look at where you want this child to be. Prepare the way for him. And the child should listen. There are cases where, for example, a child has been pushed through school, he has refused. He says he wants to do business. We have cases where some young men are in trouble. I'll give an example. A boy who imported vehicles to supply to his friends, they said, you bring a Mercedes, you bring a so and so. So he borrowed a lot of money and supplied 2 vehicles. In the process, those vehicles, he never went through the process because he's not well educated. He stopped midway. He was taken to the university and he stopped midway. The people he supplied these vehicles to are well connected or wealthy peers who have been raised up in very opulent families. They have sabotaged him. He's not able to pay the supplier. No, he paid the supplier, but he borrowed the money. Now he's having a debt. He's going through a lot of psychological issues because where he borrowed the money, they are on his case. I've been mitigating, trying to talk to the police. We do, I set mediating, and now he has almost 17 people following him to pay the money he picked, 10,000, 20,000 here and there. Where did the problem arise? He socialized with people who are more than his level, but they are so, they realized he's gullible, he's vulnerable.
Okay.
Because he's going into business and he's not a professional. He doesn't know even how to tell that this one, an agreement is supposed to be done.
Oh, yeah.
I need to get a deposit before I hand over the car.
Right.
So he messed up. Now he's in trouble.
Okay.
I'll give another example. I'm a golfer.
Oh, really?
Yes. People go into the golfing society and then you find friendly matches are being organized. So you find lawyers are playing 4 of them or 3 of them friendly. You are there, you are a spare part seller. Yes, you are doing very well, but you are not able to communicate with these people. When you are put in the same team with them, you suffer a lot of psychological torture because they are communicating, talking some things that you do not understand. When they go back to the 19th hole, which is now the clubhouse, they are together, they are free because they have what we call high self-esteem. You went there because of your money, but you are floating. Is that your right place to socialize? No, you are a misfit because the people who are there, the people who are forming those teams, they are at their levels. Now you need to also look for somebody of your level to sit with. And how many of them are there of your level?
But then shouldn't you be looking for someone who has maybe traveled the journey already? Even, for example, you're out of law school and you want to also travel this journey. So you look for people who have already traveled this journey, people who have experience, a mentor, for example. And you're trying to look for them on the golf course. You probably don't even know anything about golf, but you're there, holding the club, moving along with them. Is that good?
Yeah, the difference the differences will manifest because during the 19th hole or the club time, you will get drunk and people will be laughing at you because these people you are socializing with, they went to school, number one. So education is key in shaping behavior because behavior is as a result of nature and nurture. How are you nurtured? If you went through school, you must know how to behave, the etiquette. You must be able to read the rules of the club and you will not end up having a lot of problems. Most of the people who have cases in the golf clubs or in many clubs are people who are elevated either by what you are calling spirituality, connections, and the other one is tricks here and there, shortcuts. People who made shortcuts and they ended up there, they will always be embarrassed when they are with other people. That it will always come out through their communication, through the way they behave. Yes.
But really, I mean, okay, I'm taking a look at even the kind of people you have in the country right now who are at the top. And actually, speaking of which, people who are at the top, there are few, if you ask me, because they say being at the top is lonely. Which kind of behaviors, as you now get through this journey, which kind of behaviors do you remain with? Do you now polish out? Do you remove? Because again, people always say, huyo alipata pesa, akaanza sasa kutusahau. Huyo alipata pesa, katusahau kabisa. Which kind of behaviors now do you change? Do you calculate yourself to?
There is a serious trend of narcissism in many people who have not been raised passing through every stage successfully. There are two frameworks we use in looking at behaviors. There is the psychosexual stages of a human being. And then there is the psychosocial. Let me talk about psychosocial. At the stage of generativity versus stagnation, what are you doing? Are you just seated, waiting until you retire so that you can now start telling people, you know, I didn't make it properly? That stage, you need to work, produce, generate. Okay? Let's go to psychosexual stages. Where are you fixated? If you are fixated, maybe at anal stage, you are just a dirty child, you are not controlled, potty training was not done for you, you'll be very dirty. Even if you're in that golf club, you'll be the dirtiest person there. People will see you are not dressed well, you are not, yeah. So all these things go by the three frameworks of development. Now, narcissism is premised on how you are raised up. What words you heard from your grandmother or from your mother or from your father. Don't eat with the neighbors because you have really struggled with you. So you'll find them in the golf club, but they'll never buy a soda. They are only struggling, they are only making their money, eating their money, and it's enough for them. They don't spend on anybody. They feel pain to spend, to share with someone.
So you mean some of these words that you told when you're young,
Yes.
Sometimes you don't really forget them. You know, when you're now older,
Yes.
You can't even remember, or you don't really take it heavily, what you're told.
What you were told by the caregivers, if it was a grandmother or an auntie who raised you up, you saw the way she was struggling. She was not sharing with the neighbors. So you pick up the same. Those behaviors can be mitigated when now you grow up, you realize everyone is shunning you. You are not talking to your relatives. You are not talking to, in the place of work, you find you are a psychopath. You are a sociopath. There is a problem. So you need counseling.
Right.
Yes, to put you on the same framework. Narcissists, they maneuver, they manipulate people, they gaslight, they try, they celebrate when you suffer. How did that habit come into that person? It is by upbringing,
Right.
the way they were raised up.
Weku, here is a question, 22047. Someone asks, doesn't say the name. Kindly ask Daktari, do you have to have money to be at the top? People like Mother Teresa were known but were poor. Is money a huge factor in being at the very top?
Okay, it depends on which top
Basically,
the viewer is talking about.
At the top of the food chain.
Yes.
When it comes to even life.
Yeah. He's talked about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa took humanity, or the route of helping the society.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Wambui took the route of Warembo na Uruto. It elevated her to where she is. She just dealt with people, brought people together, and she made an impact. Money will help you prestige-wise to have all that you need or the nice things you have. But how are you spiritually? How are you socially? You may have money, but you may be a social misfit. You may have no money like Mother Teresa, but you get a lot of supports. Mother Teresa was being funded. She was being supported by well-wishers because she had goodwill. So goodwill is the most important thing. And if you combine goodwill and hard work to make money, because if you work hard, you'll definitely make money. If you have the two, my God, the sky is the limit.
Right, so again now back to what we were saying, we now remove ukora kidogo and we put ongumbele, hard work and connections.
And connections.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Now I'm curious, at the top, even as you talk about some of these behaviors to inculcate, why do people again now really say at the top is lonely?
Yes, at the top could be lonely. One, because of security issues. You sometimes heard our former president talking of he's missing his life before he became the president.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What happened? Our president is a very social person. We would meet in places all over those days before he became the president. He was living a happy life. Happiness is premised on how you socialize. Now, if there are security threats, number one. Number two, you have people following you. They want, if you are a politician, they want money. They want to be assisted. You will not enjoy your soda wherever you are seated. When you are just spotted somewhere, there's a crowd, right? That's another threat to your life, to even to your pocket. We've seen politicians being, when they're in that forum now, they're attracting, they are campaigning. Some of them are carried high, their wallets are snatched. Those are risks, yeah? So I think it's important to consider the facts I've said. Yes.
And okay, even as you also mentioned, the president. I mean, right now we also see him in crowds and all that, in different rallies across the country. But then now speak on now the kind of stress it brings personally, kind of psychology around now this person. How do they carry themselves, knowing that they're responsible for people below them?
As a president or as a former president?
Okay, basically, as someone in leadership.
In leadership. Leadership is multi-pronged. One, you must have charisma. You need to excite the crowds and so forth. Number two, you must have influence, money, speaking. Number three, you must have power. Okay? Now, with those three out of many combined, you are walking on eggshells. You speak a word, everyone picks it up. So my advice to the leaders and the politicians is mince your words. What you say matters. What you do, everyone is watching. So it's a very tricky portion, a tricky part. That is why where they are, it is said it's a very lonely place, because the moment you expose yourself to the people, they are keenly wants to discern what you are doing. What are you saying? Others will even go smelling you. How are you? Umetumia marashi gani? Others will want even to, just to know, is this the so-and-so? Is this the leader of this organization? Is this the president? Is this the MP? So what you exude out of your mouth may really build you or may bring you down.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And normally and naturally, when you're the top, one time you just really have to come below for someone to also be at the top. For example, be it a president, there's a time you'll be a president, there's a time now you will call your former president when you are a particular leader. Even for example, her as Wambui Nyutu as a VC of NCIC, there's a time she will maybe become the chair or a different role, and there's someone who will become the VC. Talk about now transition from being at the top of maybe a leadership position and also helping those who are below you to also come up. And also now transitioning, because I mean, even in Africa, we always see this oftenly. People who are at the top always have to have try to remain and wanashikilia sana hiyo power so that they also remain at the top. How does now someone prepare themselves to, not go to the bottom, but then transition from where they are to a different place?
A different place. Up there is it may be traumatizing when you drop, when you come down. Depends on what you are doing up there. Depends on also, are you able to socialize when you leave the seat that you are? And that is why many people, let me give an example of governors. Some of the former governors wanted to be MPs, and there was an uproar. There's no way you can move from the top tier, governor, now again you want to be an MP, surely. So most of them are in oblivion. They are being given being chairman of organizations here and there. Reason why they want to hold on is that power is sweet. Number two, when you drop, you don't know when you are up there, the people you are treading on, they may come for you. So you will want to hold on. So the best thing is when you're up there, be good to people, talk nicely, do good things, avoid corruption. I am of the opinion that politicians should seek leadership training, they should seek psychotherapy or counseling to be put on the right framework, how to fit the people when they are on that post to avoid making mistakes.
Right.
I would urge the government to come up with so many counseling centers, especially to deal with politicians. Most of them are having psychological issues. The few of them who have admitted having mental disorders, we can now handle them with a slack. Those ones who have not admitted having mental issues, like bipolar and the rest, people don't understand them. They may take them to be criminals, and yet they're having psychological disorders.
Right.
Yes.
You may be shocked to find some just coming and saying they have particular disorders so that you just excuse them. But anyway, we're really out of time here.
Yeah.
I want, for your parting shot, speak on the whole psychology of maneuvering to the top.
To maneuver to the top, you need to be prepared when you're still young. Some people are, their life is curtailed by being misdirected. A very bright child, but he has no parents, he's taken to be a maid somewhere for a relative. That is very wrong. Kenyans, let's stop that habit. Let this child develop to all the stages. If you have resources, msaidie huyu mtoto asome, afike kiwango ya Wamboi, apewe kazi kubwa ama afanye kazi yenye anaweza pata mkate wake. Ile kitu inasumbua ni watu, kama mtoto wako hajasoma kiwango hiyo, hutaki mtoto wa mwingine naye afike hiyo kiwango. So unampatia kazi ya kufanya kwa nyumba.
Right.
Hayo sio mambo mazuri hata mbele ya Mungu.
Right.
Maneuvering to the top, you may be lucky to have someone to pull you up.
Okay.
If you are lucky, like Wamboi, he was elevated by the president,
Right.
heko kwake. But people should put ladders for the young upcoming people.
Most definitely.
Take children to school, help your neighbor's child to go to school. Kama ni kazi msaidie, watu wasaidiane. Vile tu nimepeana mfano wa the Somali community. They help one another and they are growing very fast.
Right.
Mmoja peke yako huwezi fika mbali. Ukisaidia watu wa grow, hata mali unajenga nyumba, hautakuwa na watu maskini wa kurusha mawe kwa nyumba yako.
Asante sana Alex Weku, counseling psychologist.